I decided to title this particular video Septics, in honour of a group of people who live several thousand miles away across a big stretch of water. A septic is one half of Cockney rhyming slang, and I'll let you guess which is the other half. I ain't going to tell you because it's pretty simple really, but it involves a large receptacle. And it rhymes with the other what we called Americans mostly. It's not a term of abuse or anything like that. I mean, after all, they call us limeys, don't they? Because apparently we eat limes, to combat scurvy. I can't remember ever doing that myself, but anyway, apparently that's why they call us that. Or Brits. Brits probably a little bit better than limeys, but I don't mind either way. Or stuffed shirts is another one they call us. I'm not quite sure about the stuffed shirts one. That regards us as being sort of a bit pompous and up ourselves, you know what I mean, a bit reticent and reserved, which I suppose you could say that about a lot of English people, we are a bit sort of, but anyway, which is a contrast to them because they don't mind going on TV and spilling their guts about whatever, is going on in their lives, and quite free to do that, which actually I think is not, it's quite harmless really. I can't see anything wrong with it myself, but there we are. You get these sort of buttoned up individuals who get really het up about it, they get embarrassed by other people's difficulties, Oh well, never mind, that's just life. Now, the only thing about America, you see, is America's a continent, by the way, it's not a country, so we'll call it United States of America. Now, 200 years of history, what's that done? In fact, it's actually changed, the culture's changed, the language has changed to a considerable degree, because you can imagine all these different influences from all different parts of the world. You've got the Chinese, you've got the Africans, you've got Far Easterners, and you've got all the sort of different Europeans that have actually descended upon this country, and they've put their sort of bit in, and one of the largest ones, of course, is the Germans. There's a huge amount of Germans that went over in the 19th century. So much so that German almost became their national language. Now, can you believe that? But it's true. And they just voted it out, and decided to keep the English. But it's not the Queen's English. There are differences. For some reason, they decided to take the U out of several words, like harbour. Why? Well, it's up to them, I guess, but no one else does. I don't know the Aussies do, and certainly no the Canadians don't do. The Americans chose to do that. Fair enough. Okay, it's up to them, I guess, but it does get a bit confusing, I mean, if you put your kid to an American school, not only will you start spelling different to us, but you also be taught their history different. Their history starts with the Pilgrim's Fathers, right? And they descended on in Boston, wherever it was, and the Tea Party after that, and the Independence War thingy, right? But nothing before that. They don't get to learn about Mesopotamia. They don't get to learn about Egyptian, whatever, and the Greek Empire or the Roman Empire. None of that. And none of the European countries, they don't even know about Europe at all. I mean, there's one geezer who was interviewed and he didn't know what Hungary was. Never heard of it. He thought it was a state of being, Or that Paris was the capital of France. I mean, can you believe it? But there we are. What can you say? I mean, it's a very insular country, you see. So some of them don't even care what happens outside their own state lines, So that's the way it is. I don't mind, it's up to them really, but it does sometimes make us take the mickey a little bit, But now the alliance is always going to be strong between these two countries, ours and theirs. So do you realise a million Brits go to visit Florida every day? I mean, I didn't know that. I was actually staggered when I read that. Couldn't believe it. A million Brits. I mean, what are the people of Florida, poor people of Florida, done to deserve that, eh? You imagine all these Brits wandering around with their back-off T-shirts, drunk and falling all over the bloody place with cans of beer in their arms, singing anti-German slogans and stuff, Must be a bit awkward, embarrassing for the poor Americans. I pity them, really. But anyway, never mind. The other thing I was actually wondering about is what the percentage of the different immigrants was, which was the greatest percentage. I always thought perhaps the Hispanics were. I know the Brits aren't. It's only about 25% of Americans, if that, can claim any sort of British descent, you know. There's a lot of Germans, huge amount of Hispanics, people who've been crawling out from Central America, Mexico, Guatemala, all these places, you know. Puerto Rico, New York is full of Puerto Ricans, you know. But no, it isn't. It's none of them groups. It's not the blacks, certainly. It's your Canadians. I was staggered. I couldn't believe it. I still don't believe it. I think it's a lie. I think there's people out there that write these statistics, don't know what they're talking about. I honestly believe that. I mean, it's right. Why do Canadians want to go their thousands and millions down to America for? I mean, Canada is a rich country, isn't it? You've got all these big cities like Toronto's a major city, you know. I mean, it's not a place full of paupers, you know. It's a rich city. Canada exports oil and other minerals and God knows what else to America. So can't believe it somehow. But anyway, they do. So well, they say they do, but. And the other thing, of course, is Canadians themselves, many of them are descended from people who were loyal to the Crown at the time of the War of Independence, and they just scarpered back up north when the war was lost, you see, because they still wanted to stay loyal to old King George. So I suppose they're just returning now because they got fed up with the Queen, you know, and they want to be amongst a bunch of Republicans, you know. So I suppose that's what it could have been. And yeah, this thing about their language. You know, we are being. One thing about language and culture is you can't freeze it in time. No matter whether you're in America or you're here or anywhere else, you can't set it in stone, right? It always changes because we've got influences from different parts of the world. People migrate and then bring their own words, or we, in our case, we actually colonise all these countries. And we brought words back with us, like hammock and tattoo, veranda, bungalow. Those two are Indian words. Bungalow and veranda, definitely Indian. Pyjamas is another one. But now we're sort of bringing in American words are coming in. I mean, there's a bloke the other day come out with the term, I totaled him. What the bloody hell does that mean? Total is not a verb. Totaled. I didn't know what the hell he was talking about, but anyway, I just walked away because, well, our English words are perfectly suitable. Why not use them? You know what I mean? And the other thing, I was wandering around Tesco's not so long ago, and this little brat comes up to me. It couldn't have been more than about 13, 14, and he says to me, Jude. Huh? Jude? I mean, if he said mate, I would have been slightly offended, but Jude, I should have swiped him over the head, a cheeky monkey. So, well, that's what's happening, see? It's all is where you got all the sort of rap language and all comes from America, see? And we just have to get used to it, won't we? Eventually. And of course, they're a melting pot. They've all their bits of word from different countries have gone in there. I mean, they have Oktoberfest. That's a German thing. And I remember going out there in Pennsylvania. I had some god-awful stuff called scrapple. It's a bit like, what's that stuff you buy in tins? Meat stuff you buy in tins. Spam. It's a bit like that. But worse. You fry it and serve it as your breakfast. It doesn't taste very nice, I have to say, but not many people, American people have heard of it. It's actually a peculiarity of Pennsylvania. The Germans brought it over with them, or they invented it there, or something. It's made from pig, like sausages are, you know. And well, there we are. I'm sure there's an awful lot more I could say, but I can't think of it anymore, so I'm going to shut down now. All right. Cheers, bye.